I had to lose a lot of money to learn. I probably lost more than what the average person would lose. I started building and then learning how to options trade and then futures trade. That's where, some of the biggest life-changing money came from in my life.
I just interviewed Baghdadi. He is a crypto trader who has turned small trades into six figures, built a whole Discord community about it, and has traded every market you can think of. We talked about 5 main topics: his crypto trading strategy, mindset, Discord community, firm called Bang Digitally, and most importantly, how to actually survive in crypto. Before we jump in, make sure to smash that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can continue to make more videos like this. All of Baghdadi's links and my links will be in the description down below. Let's get started in the interview. Hi Baghdadi, how are you?
Pretty good, man. It's good to see you.
I'm happy you came here to do the interview with us today. So I'm gonna start with my first question to you. Can you first share like your background in crypto? How'd you get first involved in crypto and the trading scene? And you could even explain your Discord server that I heard about.
Okay, yeah. So how I got involved was, I was into finances at a young age, into trading at a young age. So it started really in high school, kind of like, we were talking earlier before the podcast started that, you had to say this really cool stories. I had a teacher, he taught me stocks. Like this guy was teaching stocks, and this was like a class that was new for a lot of my age group. So they started it up. There was a lot of, trading, that paper trading that we were doing in class. And, we were trading crude oil. We were trading a lot of various different things that were, more modern day, essentials and trade wise, like people would love to trade them, gold, etc. But, I was more interested in the technology phase, and that teacher actually went against me. It was resented. It was like, no, the technologies. So I found Tesla, right?
Hmm.
And, just when I was a little bit younger than you, I found Tesla very early. Um, and I was like, this Elon guy is not going to quit. I'm gonna invest in Elon. And I like the robotic car. I like the electric cars and the robotics he says he's going to do. Like we didn't even see that back then. We were just like, holy, this is crazy. So invested into him. I kept basically dollar cost averaging into Tesla and a lot of other tech stocks at the time. And by the time I was 19, 18, 19 years old, that's when I had a lot of money at that point, just saved up, compounded through various different tech stocks. And this was before the COVID pandemic. So took that money. And at this time, I was working a private security job. So I was working with a couple guys that loved crypto. And I said, man, this crypto stuff's never going to work. It's never going to be a thing. I said, it'll never be a thing. So 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, um, they were like, no, man, you really got to get into this wave. And they were showing me Solana, near the startup of Solana. They showed me Ethereum back then, and a lot of things that were like, back then, there was no meme coins yet, but there was like hints of meme coins. People would try to create their own smart contracts, and they were own custom made smart contracts instead of like a launch pad. And then also at the same time, the NFT craze was about to boom.
Of
So
course.
I was seeing all these JPEGs, you know, and I was like, "What is this?" It's like, dude, you can take these NFTs, and at the time, this guy was telling me, he's in our Discord, by the way, in our team still today. Um, he's like, you can take these NFTs, use them for currency, or use them for some type of gaming transaction. And I was like, man, this is nerdy as hell. So I don't know if I get into this or not. So I was like looking into it, did my research, and then I said, okay, around the 2019, 2020 time, I started really heavily investing into new startups and altcoins that I made money off of Tesla. So I took that money, basically like I didn't make any money in my life. Took that money, and it was a good lump sum of money, and put it into crypto altcoins and just kind of
Wow.
forgot about it.
That's
Right.
that's crazy. Like you went all into crypto, all into altcoins. Like you were like sure about this.
Yeah. And think about it. The people who convinced me were like, they probably didn't have as much knowledge as what I would want out of somebody who's going to tell me to invest. but they were really convicted in it. So that's why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look into this a little bit more. They're really convicted. They thought it was changing the world. So I said, I'm gonna have to do this. I looked
Hmm.
it up, did my research. I looked into different altcoins. At this time, Fetch AI, Ethereum was booming, or was going to boom. Shortly after I found it, Solana was going to do amazing, but this was when it was in the $5 to $6 range, and that's what I took advantage of mostly was Solana and a lot of other altcoins at that time frame. Chainlink was a cool one too, um, and there was just a lot of opportunities. I remember Doge was a huge one people talked about, and I was invested into that. And Solana started launching Shiba, or not Shiba, started launching the radium pools and all this other stuff that they had going on at the time. Um, and Bonk is what I meant, not Shiba, but Bonk. And so I was like, man, this is, and it's funny enough. Okay, I accelerated rapidly in crypto, so and that's because I had some money to do that. And how I accelerated was I started a program called BitTeach, and I started teaching people crypto. And at this time, I actually didn't know as much about crypto as I thought I did, but I was teaching it anyways.
And you
Yeah,
started BitTeach. In what year is this? This is like during the bull market in 2021 to
yeah.
2022.
So 2020, 2021, I started in 2020, had a Facebook page with a community group. People would come in and they were seeing all these crazy gains from the previous cycle, and I would make instructional digital videos of like cartoon characters, about how crypto worked. You know,
Wow, that's crazy. Like
yeah,
cartoon characters. It's like Looney
yeah,
Tunes, but like for
like Looney
crypto.
Tunes.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And after 2021, 2022, there was the bear market that happened, and everybody was panic selling. We saw then after FTX happened, the entire crypto market crashed. Everyone thought it was dead. How did you react during that time? What was going on in your life?
So at that point, I already sold most of my bags. This is when Solana was, and then last cycle we went to, 150, 140 ranges, and that's when I was starting to take a lot of profits. Fetch AI did amazing for me, and then a few other big ones. But I know that Solana was a huge investment for me back then, and so that's when I kind of started to transition. This is when meme coins were starting to be talked about a lot more, launch pads, all this kind of stuff. And I kind of left crypto for a while because I didn't show my face the first cycle. And what I did was I basically took a back step in crypto, and then 2023 I came back and then I started building stuff. That's when I started building basically my network, um, all the things that I needed for building any type of maybe a launch pad. At this time, uh, funny enough, instead of me launching meme coin launch pads, I launched casinos online. So one was like a slot machine, and then the other one was just like a casino online that we called a slot casino.
So kind of like
And
a soul pump almost or a rain bet.
yeah, like that. Exactly. Yeah,
Okay.
exactly like that. So basically, the reason I did that was because I thought Solana was just a casino, and some people still think that today, but a lot of people are building on Solana now, like they were with Ethereum, in the previous years. So, and I thought to myself, I don't want to spend as much money trying to actually build something. Instead, I'm going to use it for casino gambling for people who want to gamble, open up crates, spin the slot machine, do all that kind of stuff. And it did extremely well until it didn't, you know, because that's when meme coins were starting to come out, and they're starting to get big. They're starting to
Yeah.
get big really fast.
Like you're talking
So
about pump fun and those
yeah,
types of things.
pump fun. You had like the radium pools and then the deck screener, and then, everything was starting to really get hyped up. A lot of the retail was coming in during the bear market,
Wow.
and
Yeah, this is during the bear market. That's crazy too. Like
yeah, yeah,
everything was still kind of dead, but like it wasn't dead.
yeah, exactly. So I took that and I said, we need to start getting into meme coins. And around that time was when there was a lot of various different opportunities that I had that really boosted my name up, and that's why I started showing my face, uh, from a lot of celebrities that I was working with. in crypto, trying to get some type of deal where I could create the smart contract or maybe launch a pre-sale for them or launch an NFT collection for them. Um, and I had a lot of opportunities to connect with a lot of various different celebrities, so that was really cool.
Wow. Well, like
Yeah,
you actually connected like with celebrities like
yeah, with some
big.
big, really big ones too. Yeah, the biggest one, I'll tell you, the biggest one was Mark Cuban, but it fell through. It did not work the way we wanted it to. Um, but Mark Cuban was really a big one on my list to launch a coin for. He was talking. This was just last year though. A lot about launching a token for the Treasury for the United States, which was kind of crazy. But I thought in my head, why not try to get him to do it? It would be really good for the crypto market. It'd be really good. But a lot of people talked him out of it, and
He backed
you know,
out.
he backed out. Yeah,
Oh,
he backed out. I had a lot of my guys network to try to push it for me to get that done, so I could hire some people to do that. And without getting into too much detail, it was really just about getting Mark Cuban's name back to where it needs to be. I thought that would be really good for him and a good marketing tactic for him and his businesses, his pharmaceuticals, everything. But some people seen it as a downside because we all know what meme coins,
yeah.
do most of the time.
Rug pull.
So yeah. So that's why, I got it. I got it. But the ones that I worked with in the past are mostly like smaller tier celebrities. I would say like Long Neck, if you know Long Neck.
No, I never heard of
He's
them.
he's like a TikToker with like a huge long neck. He's super skinny,
Oh wow.
makes memes. If you seen him, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know who that is, right? And then 6ix9ine the rapper.
6ix9ine.
Okay, 6ix9ine the rapper.
Oh my god.
Yes, yeah. That see now all of these, by the way, when you're getting into these deals, they don't. They obviously I would know, but they don't tell you up front what their goal is. Their goal is they're like, I just want the honest truth, but the goal is for them. They're trying to create freedom for their people or something. You
Yeah.
know, and you're like, no, we got to know like we got to know what you want to do here. You were trying to start like a t-shirt brand or something. Maybe we can, like, make the website, put the token, pair the token with the website, so you can use your currency to pay for the t-shirts, or vice versa, do the other way around.
Hmm.
Apple Pay, crypto, everything. But it was most of the time it was just for fun for them. You know, like quick startups, launch their coin, get noticed because they had a huge following anyways, but they just didn't know how to work the back end. You know,
And and so basically, when you first started in crypto, you just did trading, you bought NFTs, you did all that.
yeah. Well, I didn't even trade, to be honest with you. I just bought,
Yeah, you
like,
just like
spot,
investing, basically.
invested. Yeah, I invested. Yeah,
But then when the
yeah.
bear market hit, you started building.
I
And
started
how
building and then learning how to options trade and then futures trade. That's where some of the biggest life changing money came from in my life.
Mhm.
It already was amazing money making money off of just spot holding. Like, cause I mean, it was basically like leverage trading when you're buying Solana at single digit dollars, and a lot of altcoins at like very small pennies. So, if you think about it, I was leverage trading then just in spot,
Wow.
you know.
And do you prefer trading, investing, or building?
So now with what we do inside of Bank Digitally, it's more so of a professional route, and it depends on who it is. It's obviously customized to that individual. But I personally, I know it did it for me was just investing. Okay. And what amplified it to give me more opportunities to make me lots more money very quickly was leveraging my money. But this came with a lot of losses before I even won,
You had to lose to win.
Um, right. I had to lose a lot of money to learn. And me, I probably lost more than what the average person would lose, but that's because I had more money to lose at that time, you know.
Of course,
So,
and I get that totally. Like, even me, when I first started in crypto, I lost a lot of money because I did try meme coins, I did try leverage trading, and I was like into the get rich quick scheme, but that's not how it works. It doesn't work like that in
right,
crypto. Everybody thinks
right.
that, but that's just a false fallacy.
Yeah,
Unless
that's
you
what honestly probably onboards most people is the perception of get rich quick, right?
and they end up being exit liquidity. Yeah.
Most of the time, unless they come from Wall Street, and they understand a little bit. Even then, though, a lot of Wall Street whales and just brokers in general will come into, let's say, the meme coin market. This market's totally different from any market we've ever seen. It's derived off of hype, entertainment, and who is buying it, who's doing this. So it's all about who the research, everything is really, and has to be fast, really fast.
Of
So,
course, I mean, we literally saw the president of the United States like launch a
oh my
meme
gosh,
coin.
it's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah. Did you
So
buy into
crazy.
that or
Yeah, that was dude. Oh my gosh. That was when, okay, so the Discord was pretty much private at this time. It was probably 100 of my closest traders and friends. And we were making videos, we were doing everything for TikTok, X, everything like that. And we was sitting in a VC call, kind of like how me and you are sitting in a call right now, but with a lot more people. And you know, when it first launched, we was all, this has to be fake, right? It launched, it got listed on Moonshot almost immediately. It was at 300 million when we seen it, and then it went to 400 million in probably like a couple minutes, and then listed on Moonshot. Trump posted a picture of it was actually his coin, and one of my best traders at the time who, he doesn't even have to do anything anymore. He doesn't have to work. This guy made so much money off of a lot of different coins. Trump coin was one of them. Um, if you remember, like AI16Z, Swarms,
Yeah, I remember
all
that.
these. Yeah, he was hitting huge on every single one, and I was hitting very small, like thousands of dollars. He was hitting crazy. Um, and his name's Belushi DJ. That's what his name is in the Discord. But he was telling everybody, he's like, dude, this is the real deal, the Trump coin. And I was still hesitant because we had somebody, you always have that one friend that's always like, don't do it, guys, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, dude, don't say this right now. We have to buy this coin, right? Well, long story short, um, you know, at this point, I threw in a couple $1,000s at 400 million. Um, Belushi, he hopped off the call because he didn't want to hear people anymore. That he didn't want to get distracted. He didn't want to get confused. He just bought the token and left. Probably the best thing you can do as a trader is if you're in a VC call, by the way, and there's a lot of people giving their opinions. If you're convicted and you think that's real, and as long as you know the parameters and the details that you need to know and understanding that's real, which he knew very, very quickly, then it's a lot better for you to just get off the call because somebody's going to try to confuse you, not on purpose, but everybody has their opinions, and that opinion might wreck some people.
Yeah,
Get them not an opportunity.
sometimes it's just better to put people on mute, put everybody on mute, and just listen to your own thoughts, your own reasoning when you're
Right.
trading, which is what he did, and he ended up making money, being profitable from the trades.
Huge. It was a huge profit, and honestly, it was. I don't know if was you watching it.
I was watching it. I was on call with my friend. He was scared. He's like, "Oh, this is gonna rug." So he put just $10 into it, and
Yeah,
he got like 1,000% ROI. So like,
dude, it was insane. It was
yeah,
insane.
it was insane.
And you
And
know what was cool is he hopped off the call and immediately contacted me and said, "We need to hop on Meteora, and we need a Meteora farm the liquidity pool." And at this point, I was like, dude, I said there's too much going on because I'm leading the Discord. Everybody's contacting me. Is this real? Is it, what is this? And I'm like, oh man, I just wish we was back to stocks and perpetuals right now because, like I hate having to answer the question. Those questions are hard to answer, realistically for meme coins. They really are.
yeah, of
And like if
course,
you're a leader and you say, yeah, buy this, and it goes to all hell, it looks very bad, you know.
of course. And the numbers you're saying, like you said, that you saw it at 300 mil, 400 mil. It went to billions after.
Oh
Like
man.
that, like your
What
group,
was it? What was it? 70 billion?
something like that, something like that. It was
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the chart, and I kept seeing it go green, red, green, red. Like the
Oh yeah.
volatility was insane on it. Like
Dude, they had
Although,
some tools. They had some tools on that coin that we probably won't see for a while. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, there were some insane tools, some insane market making, some insane, fee farming. Because I know that Trump and his family made a lot of money off Meteora,
of
and
course.
just the pool in general. But no, I sold way too early. I sold at like 16 billion, buying at 400 million, and it went all the way up to like I think 70 something billion.
Yeah, that was just crazy.
Think about this, Luca. It was the top coin. It was like I don't know. It was like
Top
was it of
40, I think something like
yeah,
that on
yeah.
CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko. Like, it was
On
nuts.
Coinbase, it was like the fourth coin on the list. It was Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, I think, and then Trump coin. It was
Yeah. Oh
crazy.
my god. I'm never gonna forget that day. Like,
I won't either. It was an insane day, honestly. And everybody, I feel so bad though for some of the members in there. They was really confused by. I'm not going to mention the guy's name because it wasn't. It's not bad, but like, he really was trying to protect people. Uh, but this protecting was a really bad loss for people who didn't get in. Because we was
yeah,
there early. I mean, so early. Um, we was also early to Please too, but a lot of people didn't want to buy that one. Please was another early one that
yeah.
Belushi Degen also called that one. So JD
I
Vance and
I even see like you're talking a lot about your Discord server, and
right.
the link will be in the bio for his Discord server. But I just want to ask you, like, your Discord server, what's it about? Like, what's in it?
Okay. Yeah. So the Discord server started as a basically a platform for traders to come and trade together. Basically, use tools that we have in there, such as Twitter trackers, AI tools that will help you notice or spot something that may be mysterious about a coin or something that is a warning, a high warning about a coin that would make you say, okay, this is not something I should buy. It gives you kind of like a risk parameter. Here, it's a 20 to 100% risk. So let's say you're 20% what you're going to make money, and then 80% won't make money, right? And it's called the Baglizer bot. And then there's tons of other tools in the paid elite section. These are actually free tools that you can use in the Discord that I'm talking about. And these are the tools that we used back in the day. So now we have even better tools in the paid sections, but in the free section, there's a phenomenal tools in the free section that people can use for meme coins, perpetuals, etc. But what I do now, and what we built this into, is a more professional firm. Okay, since we've made a lot of money, we accumulated a lot of money from not only trading meme coins, but it was mostly from perpetual trading and leveraging and hedging against exchanges. And at this time, our capital was smaller, but we still was able to hedge against and do a lot of the various different things through strategic studies, algorithms, a lot of various different things. And what we're turning Bank Digitally into is an enterprise for finances. What are the issues that we see in the crypto market that need to be resolved? A lot of people have to use different wallets for various different coins. The fees and the transactions are incredibly high at times, especially if you're moving bigger money. And we want something that's going to be put into one place. So the transaction between Ethereum and Solana, Bitcoin, and everything can be on one hub, and it will be transacted through that hub easily. Now, this is one of the biggest issues in crypto, and it still is a irresolved issue. But we're also looking at ZK proofs, which is zero knowledge proofs, for more decentralization, basically more freedom with your money. And we also fund our traders. We do a lot of various different things to accumulate money for the firm's progression. And we teach mostly how to trade and how to invest. So stocks, crypto, forex, commodities, everything you can think of, options, futures,
So it won't just
IPOs.
be crypto. It's gonna be everything, but mainly focused on
Right.
crypto.
Mainly focused on crypto since it's the future. I think it's going to be the plumbing of finance, as Larry Fink would say. And Larry Fink was a very bearish, financial, uh, big financial person that in the space
Traditional
that
finance.
right TradFi that he was very bearish on crypto, for a while.
Mhm.
Um, and now he's completely flipped. to this is going to be the future of finance. And so, that we're in the phase of mass onboarding,
Institutional
which right,
adoption.
right. We haven't even seen it yet. I think we've seen a little bit of it when Trump coin came out. I think we've seen a little bit. I mean, that was a little sneak peek of what could be. Uh, and how do you beat Trump? I don't know. I don't know how you beat him, how you outdo him. Really, how you would have to do that is through creating a financial system that's for the people, and that would save a lot of people's personal information. Uh, uh, Maybe be able to make them more money long term, faster for their children, generational type, establishments. But not only that, protection, zero knowledge proofs are a big thing. Seen Zcash the other day
Of course.
go really good, and I know that, like, for me, and the question that you're asking is, for me, it's about creating a system for traders to learn the actual skill of trading, because I believe in the next 5 years that this opportunity will be more of a like how stocks are now. Now stocks are doing really good, but it's still, if you're buying Amazon at $250, you're not going to get 100x from here, right? And if you did, Amazon would have to be, I don't know what market cap it'd have to be, but it'd have to be insane,
Yeah, of course. And
multi trillions.
And since we're talking about Larry Fink, BlackRock, and now we're seeing even JP Morgan becoming more pro crypto, and all these institutions from Wall Street, we even have the US government, which is super pro crypto. I mean, we saw the Clarity Act get passed. Now, all Americans are going to get $2,000, like a tariff check or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, how is this all shaping your view on the crypto market going into 2026 now? How do you feel?
So my game plan is, obviously we keep doing what we're doing because it's a great system of what we have here in Bank Digitally. But the biggest thing for leading into next year is, I believe only around 10% of the globe, according to various different sources, is accumulated or even bought crypto. And most of those are like what you just said, are institutions, countries. It's crazy to say that, but countries, and just big financial institutions that are, uh, any type of corporation that has a lot of money is investing into this. Digital wallets and all these other things are the future. They're investing in AI, so they're looking at collaborating these things together. So our goal inside of Bank Digitally is to catch up in a way where, now we're about to launch our app and website, where we can compete with, obviously we're not aiming to first compete with BlackRock because it's a very big goal, but um, we look at our trajectory like we would with BlackRock, right? We want to be able to accelerate that fast and make our students, our members, our investors lots of money very quickly. And how we're going to do this is through new technology, building new technology, building safer wallet structures and decentralization for people. And then obviously a learning path that would help a lot of people, maybe with taxes, maybe with a lot of various different things that people struggle with in the real world, help them with these things. And
And
obviously big collaborations, etc.
and Bank Digitally is separate from your Discord server. Those are two different things, correct?
So Bank Digitally is the firm, and it is a part of the Discord, but it's only a part of one membership. So whenever BitTeach is the members that I had in 2020, I brought BitTeach back in 2024, since it's 2025 now. And then from that point, we've been building those students to become the market makers, the hedge fund managers, the asset management team, the traders, and obviously funded traders as well. So, these people are able to get funded. There's no gimmicks. Most prop firms would say, hey, pass our prop firm test. You're going to get $50,000. If you lose once, you're going to have to retake the test. And, if you're paying for that test, by the way, and you'll be able to establish this $50,000. And once you make, let's say 60,000, you'll get 90% of the profits. That's what they say.
Of
Um,
course.
Bank Digitally is, if you are a good trader and you're trading for our company, you're trading for Bank Digitally in the firm and the things that we launch, The products that we launch are going to be obviously help with that. Then you're going to get funded with zero. There's no, I'm not taking any money. There's nothing. It's all the money is yours, and that's an investment into good traders. It's very important that is talked about because we're investing in the good traders, and we know from the past when we invest in good traders, the limelight of that, the foreseeing future is that they're heavily invested into the company, and they feel really good about being a part of that. You know,
course. And my next question to you actually is, what cryptocurrencies are you holding, if you don't mind me asking? What are you most bullish on coming up now in 2026, new year? What are you bullish on? What do you think the next narrative is going to be? Stuff like that.
so some things that I can say for this interview is that most of Bank Digitally, what we hold is Bitcoin. We have a reserve. We are obviously building it up. Every membership, every trade, everything goes towards building the reserve in Bank Digitally. But we're also invested in multi diversification assets in crypto from Ethereum, Solana, a little bit of XRP, not too much. I'm talking just a couple 100,000, just as the company. But what we're looking at in all reality of this is that the future, I think, is Zcash. We've seen Zcash go insanely crazy, which we got in early, luckily, from Kraken in our Discord, who called that. And we put a $10,000 investment into that at around 40-50 bucks. It went obviously very well, and I think that the future, for what I can say here, not financial advice, but I believe that there's going to be a lot more Zcash is coming, and a lot of companies. There's still many issues in crypto that have not been resolved. Hyperliquid being a very very good DEX platform, but it's not as good as I believe as something like BitUnex that's American friendly, very fast, efficient. The trades that we do on there are very quick. If there's any issues, they send the money to my members back. Very, very, very a lot of hospitality with BitUnex. But there's people like, you know, Hyperliquid who is, using validators and you're able to actually stake a lot of currencies into other validators, um, and basically use a separate wallet, by the way, just like BitUnex does. It's a separate wallet. It's not tied to any wallet that you have, Phantom, MetaMask, anything like that. It generates a new wallet, right? And so you don't have to worry about those funds being, liquidated out of your main wallet into the perpetual wallet or the spot wallet, et cetera. And there's just a lot more security needs to happen in crypto. So there's going to be a lot more companies come out and resolve these issues. So from what I can say is I think the big top three, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, is highly what we're invested in. And obviously we have stocks like Nvidia, Tesla, a lot of other things that I could say and name off, just for the purpose of this. Anybody who wants to pay us for a partnership? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No,
Uh,
but like tech stocks in general, AI tech stocks. If any of them that are good, you can name them. Palantir was one. We had a full list in February of 2024. Amazing list that was every single one of them went big. Hims was another one, Amazon, Google. We had Tesla, Nvidia, Palantir, a lot of different ones I can't even remember, but there was a lot on that list that did amazing for our BitTeach members. So, we look for really, since now we have money, we look for the biggest investments, and then our own creations. That's what we do now.
and wow, that's. I think I'm gonna have to research this bank digitally. I gotta look more into this after because you kind of got me hooked now on this. You know, of
For sure, man.
course. My next question to you is: how much have you made in crypto, or what's the coin that made you the most money?
So I'll say what coin made me the most money. I'll say that.
Okay, okay.
Solana was definitely the biggest coin that's made me the most money in the years of being crypto. Now, I more so build and work and do things on EVM chains, Ethereum, etc. And I like them a lot more. But Solana was my biggest breadwinner. And that was purely, just to be honest, because of a degenerate investment in a few people in real life. Um, but where it was so low, and I put a good amount of capital, a little bit under $100,000 into Solana. You can just think if it 2x'd, or 3x, and but it didn't. It went an insane x, and we went from $5 all the way up to $250, last year, or earlier this year. So if you think about that and the amount of gains that's made me just from, I could have sold, 200,000 here, 300,000 here. It adds up. But we were also, me included, or me mostly, uh, invested into several altcoins that done very well. And Fetch AI was very, very early for investing, and that was another huge one for me. So realistically, it only takes a few coins, but the biggest wealth came from, honestly, perpetual and options trading. And when an exchange sees you doing well trading, they're going to contact you, and they're going to ask you, "Hey, man, do you want to, be a part of this? You want us to invest in you?" And usually my answer is, "Hey, I have a firm. I'm building it up. We're nowhere near what a firm needs to be in money. Okay, a really good firm, for example, would probably be minimal hundred millions of dollars. Okay, we're not there yet. But what I can say is that we're on the trajectory of doing so, and we're creating things that resolve issues for people. That's where the income comes from for Bank Digitally. And also at the same time, we're building platforms for traders. We're building AI tools, advisors for traders. And I'd say, what we're looking to do is take over a market that is really sought after, that has hundreds of billions of dollars a year for clients, the entrepreneur who's doing that job, et cetera, which I won't name off, but it's a very, very wealthy sector in the financial world that could literally be taken over. And that's our goal mostly, so we can compound it for the future.
Mm. You seem to be very focused, like, on this firm. Like, you really like
100%.
you're chasing the dream. You're chasing the
Oh,
success.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I love chasing big stuff, man. Big stuff is the only thing you should chase. I'll tell you this. This is really good for everybody listening. The key point of why I started the firm in the first place, the future of crypto and the future of finances in general. I believe that we're going to see AI amplify our economy by a lot, and what this is also going to affect is self-made entrepreneurs. It's going to be very hard for a self entrepreneur, a solo entrepreneur, to become successful. It's already hard. You can already imagine how hard it is now. Okay. That's what I am. That's what I became to be. And now I have a team of people. So it's going to become so hard to do that. And they're going to be looking for places to help them get off their feet, you know, not work a 9 to 5, not work a established job of maybe a corporate job or anything like that. But what I could advise is that you do both. At one point I was doing both, and I was working 2 or 3 jobs and still doing crypto, and still doing all these things that I do now. But I was not sleeping, getting a lot of work in during the day and night, and etc. The biggest thing you can learn is that uh, crypto is still being pioneered and established. It's early finances, right? It's decentralized. It's true freedom assets, and you can build whatever you want on there. But I believe the future is going to take investments from people, and my company will be able to invest in people that are like me, who are very, very hard nosed. They will succeed, and they do not quit at any given matter. Those are the people we want to invest in, because it's going to amplify our company, and it's going to make them the dream that they want come to a reality. And also at the same time, we want to resolve huge issues in the financial system that are going to be, it's not going to be overnight, but in the 5 year span of building Bank Digitally, that is when the biggest part will come. Flourishing of money, lots of money will come, but first it's resolving the issues of clients and taking care of people that we need.
Seeing you talk like this with your experience and also your grind, I see you becoming the next Larry Fink in the future, man.
Oh god, I hope hopefully I look a little bit better than him. He's ugly as shit.
Yeah. Oh no, he's gonna
No,
bomb
no.
our house now. We're cooked.
Oh no.
Oh,
No, he's listening to everything. He probably owns this whole platform. No, I was
oh,
kidding.
we're gonna get banned.
I was kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, it's really cool. So like your journey, we talked about it before this interview. And I could already tell because I was in those shoes at one point. You're going to do very good. Especially, he was the one who reached out to me. Not a lot of people reach out to individuals, right? I do have a lot of corporations and businesses reach out to me, and then somewhere along the lines dwindle down. That one person I'm going to talk to is hired to talk, right, and get that interview or whatever. He went on his own, you know, on his loan, and he came out and want to do this interview. So you're going to be really good. You're going to be really good. And honestly, your podcast or you can have a podcast and do really good. The
I
interview is already great enough.
I appreciate those kind words, by the way. And I'm like
Yes.
shocked. I'm talking to somebody who collaborated with 6ix9ine, the rapper. Like I used to listen to that when I was like 12 years old. Like
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
crazy to me. I don't want to
Meme
keep
quiz are
you.
fun.
Yeah, I don't want to keep you for too long, so I'm gonna wrap it up and get to my few last questions for you. Um, since uh since the start, we've heard about your experiences with crypto. We've talked about your Discord, your firm, basically everything. Your top conviction holdings. So I want to ask you for all, and I bet all the viewers, all the newcomers want to hear this, but what is your advice for somebody who's just starting out in crypto, young like me, or 60 years old, who wants to start trading or building or just investing? What would your advice be for that type of person?
So the biggest thing that you can learn is, you're when you leverage your money, or if you are trying to make money, it depends on how much you have. If you're younger, let's say you have $1,000. Um, the best way to go about it is to take percentages and leverage those percentages. For example, if you have $1,000, 20% of that you should leverage. Okay, you should learn. You should lose it all. 20% of it. And mind you, that $1,000 that you're investing, you can afford to lose. That has to be the number one thing, right? Because it's going to be the financial world, from not just crypto, from every aspect of finances, is very difficult. Uh, and there's a lot of cutthroat business that happens in finances. So it's a lot of fake people, a lot of people who don't really care about your money. They don't care where you go. They just want your money, right? That's what a lot of financial, big tech, big AI institutions are trying to do. They're trying to, liquidate you basically. But they need it for the future. So, long story short, it comes to a younger person would want to do percentages. An older person would want to look more for, long-term investment, like a staking, or maybe some type of long-term investment at something that is, has a lot of ETFs, or a lot of backing, and a very good team that's already established, because those people should have a little bit more money to put into the game without having to worry about it. And also at the same time, that resolves, there's a lot of things that you have to go and ask yourself, like who that individual is. But in the very simple sense, an older person, you should look for more long term. And I know you're trying to get it fast because you're getting old, and you want to take care of your family and whatnot, but you don't have 40 years to figure it out. You only have 10 years, and you need to make it very, very, very precise. Now, the younger person, I failed hundreds of times, and that's what I learned from. And failure is good. Failure is a good thing. I love to win, but without failure, you can't win. So the younger person, and I'm talking to you too. It comes down to percentage game. If you can take 20% of that money of 1,000 and turn it into 40%, you're already in a very good point, okay, of being a trader. Because you can lose half of that 20%, you still have 10% to gain back 30%. So leverage is all about numbers and leveraging your money from to go in a volatile aspect, like a slingshot, right? You're using a rubber band, pull the rubber band back farther and farther and farther. If you release it, it could go really high. If you pull it back too far, it'll break, right? So volatility is your friend at a young age, and I think we are in the most volatile moments in our the U.S. economy's history, and the whole world's history. And there's always ways to make money, but the younger person should take a lot more risk, and don't be afraid to. That's the if I had one regret in trading or learning anything about finances is that I wish I took a lot more risk. And I feel like I took a ton. I probably took more risk than the average person to win. But I still wish I would have took more because I think if I took a little bit more with bigger capital, once I had a bigger capital, I may have had even more money and been even more well off. I could have lived 40 years without working a job, or something. I don't know. But that's how I sit here and think is like, what could I have done if I'd done this right? This a different way. So that's my advice.
I agree with that. Taking more risk when you're young, because you could do it when you're young. You lose it all. It won't matter because you're gonna work for the rest of your life if you don't take risk.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of
Exactly.
my audience, and especially probably your audience, is touched by that message. So I wanna
For
thank
sure.
you for that. I think we're gonna wrap up this interview. We're gonna end it. I
Okay.
just want to ask you: you have any final words you want to say to the people listening to this, or to a message to your future self? Because you may look back at this video and
Yeah, for sure. First thing we want to do is make sure if you've watched this into the video, subscribe to Luca. He's very good, young entrepreneur. Support him. The entrepreneur world who's going to see this and people inside the Discord, follow him, turn on the bell, watch all of his podcasts and his interviews and everything that he does. Okay, because it's going to be very beneficial for him, and he's going to bring you the best he can. It's going to motivate him. I know it is. But the last thing that I'll say is, really just for inspiration, I've probably failed more times than anybody in the crypto space. And, I've been here for 7 years. I could be, my goal is to be, not wealthy in the sense that I have all the money, but to build a company that's so wealthy that everybody's making tons of money. And it's going to be something that's talked about. It's going to be something that's an issue because the issue will be, why are these people so successful, and why are his members being making so much money, and it's going to have to be looked into, investigated into. But it's more so the point that I create freedom for people. And why I say all this, the important message of that is, if you keep doing what you love, my passion is that we change the world. I want to change the world, right? I've always wanted to do something that's so astronomically huge that it changes and touches a lot of lives, and not for me. You know, I would be more concerned about my name when I die than the money that I make. That's what I love. I love the this guy did this and the story. I fell in love with the Kobe Bryants, the Michael Jordans, the Alexander the Great, everything, Jesus Christ, and all of these humongous stories that last forever, are the coolest thing to me. And I think it goes towards finances is the biggest thing right now.
of course.
And a lot of things are to that point are very important to me.
Well, I want to thank you for that really nice final message. All of Baghdadi's links will be in the description below, so go check it out. His
Thank you.
Discord, Bank Digitally, all of it, his X, it's all gonna be in the description below. And I want to thank you again for doing this interview because a lot of people on crypto Twitter, they're scared, they don't want to show their face.
For
Uh,
sure.
so I want to thank you a lot for that. So I'll see you
Absolutely.
guys in the next interview. Peace out.